If you use business English expressions correctly, you will be seen as more professional. But if you don't use them so well, then you can be seen as less professional. I want to share with you 15 business English expressions in this video that will help you sound more professional with your business English. Companies recruit and hire people all the time, and they also let people go. Let's learn some expressions that are very important for hiring and firing in a company. Number 1, your resume or your CV. These are similar, but they're not the same. Generally, a resume needs to be a one-page document that can be viewed very quickly. However, a CV is much longer, several pages in fact. Most of the time, a CV gives a lot more detail about your work history and your experience. Both are useful, and many times hiring managers don't spend much time looking at them. But the purpose for a CV or for a resume is to show the person that is looking at your application your work qualifications and your experience from the past. Not only that, but also your education. Hiring managers only spend a few seconds looking at each resume. Did you know that? Actually, I've been in that situation, and there are so many applications at times that you just want to take a quick look at a resume. It decides if you are in or if you are out. His CV is so long because he has many years of experience and working for many different companies. White-collar worker. A white-collar worker is a person who works in a company, generally more in the information side of the company and less on the labor side. If a person is working in manual labor, they're often called blue-collar workers. But the person who is involved with management and other parts of the administration of a company are often called white-collar workers. These workers are often salaried with no set time to clock in and out. He is the first white-collar worker in a family of many blue-collar workers, and they are very proud of him, as you can imagine. White-collar jobs usually come with a good salary and benefits. Job interview. A job interview is an opportunity for you to present yourself to the hiring manager and to showcase all of your qualifications. You want to present yourself in the best way when you go to a job interview. So be sure to dress well for the part and to practice your presentation skills before. Let's take a look at this example. It is a good idea to brush up on common questions before your job interview. Brush up on is a phrasal verb that can be very helpful in the business context because it means to improve on your skills or to review and upgrade yourself. Here's another example. The manager will ask for references from those candidates who perform the best in the job interviews. Bring something to the table. When you bring something to the table, this expression means that you are providing benefits or something that's beneficial to the company or to the team. For example, you might say something like this. Always share what you can bring to the table in the job interview. Here's another example. The new manager brought an extensive network of people to the table. Here you notice that we divide this phrasal verb, brought something to the table, and in the place of something we can put a phrase such as an extensive network of people. Qualifications. Qualifications are the skills and talents that you are expected to have for a job position. For example, Technical jobs have specific qualifications you need to know before you apply for the job. Here's another example. Although motivation is not listed in the qualifications, it is absolutely essential for the job. Those phrases are very helpful when you are hiring new people or preparing to expand your company, but there are also times when you need to let go of people in your company. You could also use the phrase lay off. Let go or lay off. This means to fire someone. Although fire has a harsher context or meaning to it, when we say let go or lay off, it generally has a soft meaning because it is not about the performance, it's about the difficulties of the economy or the business climate. For example, you might say, many companies had to let go of good employees during the pandemic. And as you know, the global pandemic has caused a negative effect on many companies that had nothing to do with performance of the worker. Here's another example. The middle manager was let go due to questionable practices with the budget. In this case, let go is more like being fired because it is about performance. Downsize or restructure. When you downsize something, it means that you make it smaller, so the company number of employees decreases. Not because of performance, but because of external circumstances again. For example, you might say something like this. The increase in competition caused her company to downsize to a skeleton crew. Oh, you want to know what skeleton means? We are near the Halloween time of the year, but we're not talking about a Halloween costume. We're talking about a minimal team of employees when we say skeleton crew. That's a good phrase for you to remember. Here's another example. The CEO is trying to avoid downsizing by opening up new markets. And one more related to hiring and firing would be outsource or outsourcing. When a company outsources, it means that they subcontract or they hire an outside company to do a job instead of hiring someone inside their company. For example, you might say something like this. Some companies outsource their marketing to specialized marketing agencies. Another example would be, outsourcing is a strategy that they chose to use to lower their costs. As you know, the financial health of a company is vital for its existence. And in any company, there will always be many conversations about money. So you should know these expressions in order to function well in the financial conversations in a company. So let's begin by talking about the balance sheet. What is a balance sheet? A balance sheet is a document that tells where you have spent money and where you have received money. It tells your income and your expenses. And this is very important so that you know if you're going to make a profit or if you're going to lose money. Balance sheets are documents that are put together by the finance department. So you might consider an example like this. The accounting department is preparing the balance sheet for a tax audit. And of course, the boss always pays attention to the balance sheet. So how about this example? The boss is disappointed with the balance sheet because she sees unnecessary spending. Related to finance, you also want to know the phrase, in the red and in the black. In the red or in the black are very important phrases for understanding if your company's financial health is positive or negative. How about this example? You must be in the black if you want to see your company get a profit. And as you know, companies do suffer because of many external circumstances. So this example clearly identifies one. The global pandemic has caused many companies to operate in the red. The next expression that you should know is be over budget or be under budget. When you are over budget, it means that you are spending more money than you should be. But when you are under budget, it means that you are staying within the range of the money that is allowed for you. So how about this example sentence? Since we are over budget, we need to find areas where we can trim. If you trim expenses, that means that you look for ways to cut the costs. And for a positive experience, you might have this example. The boss is happy that we finished the project under budget. Yes, of course, the boss will be happy because it doesn't cost extra money. Whenever you are dealing with issues of finance, you often need to get someone to sign off on. Sign off on. This really means to get approval from someone who has authority to spend the money. Sign off on. If we get our supervisor to sign off on our request, we can get started on the project. And generally, the CEO of the company has a lot of influence on whether money is spent. And so you might have an example like this. If you are discussing a big project that costs a lot of money with your colleagues, one of them may say to you, "The CEO will never sign off on this large expenditure." Next, let's take a look at the phrase financial risk. Financial risk is about the probability of losing money or perhaps gaining a lot of money. It is risky if you try something that could win or could make you lose. So financial risk is about the possibility of getting a lot or losing a lot. For example, the board of directors are calculating the financial risk of entering the new market. Another example would be the financial risk was greater than they had imagined, and so the company went under. Oh, there's a new expression that I didn't include. Go under. Went under. If you use the phrase go under, it means the company goes bankrupt. They have to close because there isn't enough money to sustain the business. Whenever you give proposals to your boss, they often want to ask about a ballpark figure. A ballpark figure. What is a ballpark figure? A ballpark figure is an estimate or a general amount that something may cost or that something will produce. It is a rounded general amount. So you may tell your supervisor something like this. The exact cost is hard to predict, but here is a ballpark figure. And hopefully your boss will respond to you by saying something like, details are not important right now as long as we have a ballpark figure. And finally, predict the ROI. ROI. What is ROI? This stands for return on investment. And so whenever you propose a new project for your manager or your boss, you want to predict the ROI. In fact, they will probably be predicting it in their own minds even before you get to that. Because it's very important to know how much you will get after you take the risk. So an ROI is the return that you get for spending money up front. And hopefully it's a big profit. So if you say to your boss, if we predicted the ROI correctly, then next year will be a big year for us. Whenever new companies start, they sometimes find investors, or what's sometimes called angel investors, to give money to help them get started. But you know, people who invest money always want to predict the ROI. And so you might see an example like this. Investors need to be able to clearly predict the ROI before investing. So we've made it through 15 expressions in business English that will help you advance your career and sound more professional in an English-speaking environment. Do you have any questions about these phrases and expressions? If you do, I hope you'll leave a comment down below and ask a question about something else that you are interested in learning. I work hard on preparing these videos so that you can have an edge, an advantage in your studies and in your future career, because I wish for your success. These other videos on my channel are also resources to help you advance your career and reach your dreams. I hope you'll take time to watch them. Well, that's all for this episode. Thank you very much for watching and have a great day.